Hi, what's up? This is Trina Debery. This is episode 9 of One Tired Teacher, and this is actually the conclusion to a 3-part series on teamwork and the power of teamwork. So if you missed episode 7 and episode 8, go back and check it out. Today, I want to share some personal things about teams, and I have been, for the majority of my career, I have been completely blessed to work alongside the most amazing people. But I also have had some times where it wasn't so easy. So I hope that you stick around and hear my story.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Debery.
Hi, what's up? And this is a conclusion of team building and team rapport. And before I begin the episode, I definitely want to let you know that I have created a freebie just for you. It's in the show notes. It's notes you can give your team. You can easily print them out and just pass them out to people when you're wanting to show your appreciation for them. And I wanted to share a little bit about teams and kind of wrap up what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. But first, I want to do a shout out to KJS Bank, who left the sweetest review on iTunes. She said, "Such an educational refresh. Finally found a podcast that is talking about the trials and triumphs in education in a way that inspires us all. Can't wait to hear more. Do yourself a favor and give this podcast a listen." Thank you so much for your review, and I hope that to call out somebody else next week. So if you want to leave a comment or a review on iTunes, go ahead and hop right on there and let me know what you're thinking. You can also leave a comment on my website as well, Trina Debery Teaching and Learning /One Tired Teacher. So first of all, I want to remind you of what we heard from Stefania in our first episode, which was episode 7 of One Tired Teacher. And it was a teacher story about an art teacher who had made the jump from elementary school to middle school. And all along her journey through teaching, she shared a beautiful story about teamwork and team support and how people came through for her in a very difficult time in her life when she was battling cancer. And it was a beautiful story. I hope that you'll listen in. That I will record or leave the link in the show notes. And then we also got to hear from a favorite of ours, and that's Melanie Redden from episode 8 of One Tired Teacher. And we talked about team rapport. And Melanie shared some really strong suggestions, like getting together with your team outside of school and making sure that you create this culture of trust and that you work together and you value each other's strengths. And those were some really, really good suggestions on how to create a team that works well. So I wanted to share a little bit today, some more about teams, and also even share an unexpected place to find your tribe when you need one. And sometimes we do need one. Like when I first started teaching, I actually experienced my first team of teachers, and I had some really amazing people that I worked with. But they were having a little bit of a conflict within the team. And sometimes that conflict can be really hard to deal with, especially when you're brand new and you don't really know where you fall. You kind of feel like you have to take a side. And that's not always the case. In fact, it shouldn't be the case because you're new and you're excited and you're ready to change the world and take on the world. And taking sides is not really a part of what you want to be doing when you first start teaching or teaching at all, at any point. So that can be difficult sometimes. And I know that another time, and that was the hardest one, and that's the story that I'd like to share. I went at the very end of my teaching career, which was about 20 years, and this was just a few years ago when I decided that my time was up. But before that, I left a school that was like a family to me. And in fact, even during the holidays, it was so special to me that it was my ultimate place to be. Like I knew Thanksgiving at my school was Thanksgiving for me. And they became more like family as the years went on, and as my life changed and I went through some difficult things, such as getting sick and also getting divorced. And so I was really just in love with the place where I taught, and I was adored my principal, who I worked for almost my entire career. He was an amazing person and mentor and leader, and it made a huge difference for me. But when he was promoted, I went ahead and I decided that it was time for me to leave that school because it was not going to be the same. So I went to a different school, and whew, from day one on my team, it was hard work. Nobody was excited that I was coming or taking the position. I was actually taking the position as a media specialist, and even though they had to take double classes because I hadn't been there, it felt like I was very unwelcomed. And I will go as far as saying that some people were downright mean to me. Like, they were like, you're not going to like it here. You're not going to fit in here. This isn't going to be a place for you, and things like that, or calling me names, or saying that I dressed too fancy, which I wasn't dressing fancy. I was just actually wearing work clothes to work instead of jeans and a t-shirt, which I do like to wear a lot and ended up wearing more frequently. But I thought that I would try to make a good impression. But instead of making a good impression, I became kind of a target for not very nice comments, and it was really hard. And I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've been on a team where you didn't feel welcomed, or you didn't feel valued. I think that teaching can be hard sometimes, and it can be tiring. And if we don't have the people around us to support us, it makes the job so much worse. And the job can be beautiful and amazing, and it can be truly inspirational. But it can also be really overwhelming and sometimes frustrating. And it feels quite often that we as teachers get overlooked, or we feel like we're not valued. And it can be really upsetting. And then being on a team of people that feel the same way or treat you that way, it makes it incredibly heartbreaking. And it was a very difficult time for me in my life. I ended up losing my father that year, and I had already lost my home, my school home, and it was just really tough to be in a situation where it was so obvious that I was not welcome. And I went along like that, and I would eat alone, and when the holidays came, that was the hardest for me because, like I said, at my old school, I felt like Thanksgiving was home for me at school. And I was home there. And then all of a sudden I'm eating by myself, and I don't have any friends, and I feel like a new student again in my life as a over 40-year-old. And it was really rough. It was really difficult. And thankfully, a new art teacher came along who made such a huge difference in my life. And then along came a science teacher, and my world changed. I finally had two people that I could connect with, that I could talk to, that we could laugh, where we ate lunch together, and we shared our personal stories, and we shared our difficulties in school. And everything was different again. And I was reminded of like what a value it is to have coworkers who've got your back, literally have got your back. It just makes such a huge difference. And I would often talk about, like, at my old school, which I know can be very annoying. And I didn't do that to the people that didn't like me. I talked to my new friends, and I told them things that I had learned along the way. And because they asked and they wanted to know. They wanted to know what it was like to be under different type of leadership, and what it was like to work on teams of people that cared about one another. And I told them that I definitely felt like some of that came from the top down, as far as like building a culture where people care about one another, where people use empathy and empathize with one another's situations and life, and that we don't just look at it as this is a job and I'll see you at work and that's it. We actually look at it as this is a part of our life. We've been called to do something very important, and we want to honor one another when we're around one another and when we're not. And that was a huge component at my past school. We value people those that are not present. And I thought that was a really big message, because it was important to continue not to talk about other people and to be respectful of people, even if they weren't in our presence. And those kinds of statements and that kind of mentality really grew teams and built trust in a community. And I was the team leader for years in my past school, even actually in this last school. But I worked so hard to have that type of team. And if you were listening to Melanie in episode 8, you heard her say that I was good at that. I felt like that was an area where I tried really hard I aspired to be as good as the leader where I learned that from. I tried to be a person that connected with others, and I tried to put others ahead of myself. And I tried to promote what they were doing, not what I was doing. I wanted a community. I wanted a place where we trusted each other with everything, with personal things and with school things. And I think that was something that I felt on our team. We felt like a family. And often I told them that they were the family that I chose, and not the family that I was born into, or not the family that I had created. And they were there for me. They were there for me in some of the most difficult times of my life. And I am eternally grateful to all of them. So, the power of teamwork. Teams can really make or break your school year. They just make such a huge difference. If you're working alongside people that respect you and you respect them, you value one another, you utilize each other's strengths, you work together on building each other up, it just makes such a huge difference in your day, in your day-to-day existence. And it's really powerful. It's a powerful example to children. Children see that adults working together, collaborating, being friends. It makes them feel like they've got a safe place to be. And it gives them an example of how to treat others themselves. So I think it can be a really powerful experience when you're working on a team that works so well together. So what do you do if you find yourself in a situation like I did, where you don't have your tribe or your people, or you've lost them? You've lost them along the way somehow. One of the places that I have found for instant groups and instant tribes is actually on Facebook. I have become like a Facebook groupie. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I have found so many great groups on Facebook that make me feel welcome and value what I say, and I value what they say. And it's just been really, really kind of cool. I did start my own group, which is a makerspace and thinking and love of learning group. And you can find it. I'll link to it in the show notes. But I'd love to have you join us. We like to talk about things that are going on in education, and the main premise is that we all feel very strongly about children loving to learn. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I'd love for you to join us. I actually want to share some of the responses that I got from people that are in my group on Facebook and also on my page. So here's from a few people. One of a person that I used to work with, she wasn't on my team, but she was there at my school, and she's amazing. Her name is Kara. She said, when I asked how important is teamwork and team rapport and building team rapport, she said it's very important. They are a huge wealth of knowledge, shoulder to cry on, and a springboard for laughter when they know you need it. Absolutely, Kara. I totally agree. Another person, Sherry, said, teamwork is important in many professions. It expands the capabilities of individuals and the reach to your target. Absolutely agree. Without them, I don't know where I would be. I had another person this was in my Facebook group, and her name is Rachel, and you've heard from her actually. She was on episode 5 talking about the power of administration. She's amazing. She said, I've worked at a lot of schools, in a lot of grades, and on a lot of teams. You have coworkers willing to share their ideas and support you. You can make a world of difference. We all have strengths, so lean on each other. Totally love that. I think that is really important, to utilize each other's strengths and create that magical synergy. And then Margaret, who I actually was on a team with, we were on a team together for years in second grade. And she says, making personal connections is just as, if not more important than making school connections. Share ideas and working together are great, but I thrive best when I can connect personally. It makes me more comfortable to share ideas and willing to try new things that others suggest. Plus, being able to talk on a personal level makes work more enjoyable. Winky face. And I totally agree with you, Margaret. And I had many of those moments with you, and I'm so thankful. And then from a very special friend, we have worked together for years, but we never were on the same team. But she is coming soon to share about new teachers. And so she's incredible. And this is what she says about teammates. She says, your teammates are everything. I don't know how I would have survived my career without them. Even if you like to work alone, which I sometimes do, their teaching ideas and solutions to problems contribute to make something so much richer than you could ever do on your own. You may think you know everything, but you don't. And you may think that your way is always the best, but it isn't. Everyone on a team plays a unique role, and that being said, everyone has a responsibility to find out and honor what each person brings to the table and to make sure nobody feels left out. My teammates are not only my colleagues, but my friends, my best friends. If you're lucky, and if you open yourself up to it, they become family. We've cried together, raised our kids together, complained about the world together, and most importantly, laughed together. A lot. If you don't have the team you want, then don't shut down. Create it. Read more about what it takes to make a team effective. Ask your administrator to provide team building exercises. Develop the team you imagine and know that that will never be perfect. Oh, I love that. And she's amazing, and you're going to want to hear more about her. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss her episode. It's coming. But there's so many great groups out there. There's specific groups for second grade and first grade and STEM and high school and science and all kinds of excellent places for you to find other teachers that are like you. I do want to give a shout out to Kessler's Science Learning Group. It is the best group. It is filled with people that are in love with science and love teaching, and they're always there to boost each other up and come up with wonderful ideas and share. It's really a truly amazing community. And I just might have a surprise when it comes to Kessler's Science Group just around the corner, so be on the lookout for that too. And sometimes they're not like you. Sometimes they're totally different. But you really get a good feel of other people's opinions. And I think that challenges us sometimes. And I think that can be really important to be challenged in our thinking, because sometimes we're wrong. I don't like to say that a lot, but we are. And I think it's very important for us to learn from things. So I wanted to share a few of these comments that I put out in a couple of groups that I'm in about the value of a group and why they're so important. And I do think that if I had found these groups when I was alone, sitting in my office, eating lunch without any friends before one of my favorite art teachers in the world came in and rescued me. Before that, when I was by myself and I felt sad and I felt literally sad, like crying constantly, which is not a good thing to do at school, but it happens sometimes. Before that, if I'd found these groups, I might have actually felt like I had some people that had my back, because I definitely missed the people that did once upon a time. So I put the question out in a couple of groups about how important it is to have a group, to be in a group on Facebook. And here's an answer from somebody in one of the groups I'm in, and her name is Annette, and she says, "It has been a burnout preventer for me. I teach in a small school where I am the only middle school science teacher, and the collaboration and sometimes the commiseration, LOL, has helped me feel like I have colleagues to reach out to." That is so true. Sometimes you need to commiserate. It's important to get those things off of your chest. I have recently started running again, and I'm listening to this guided running app by Nike, and there's a coach, and I love him. He's so motivating. He's so inspirational. And one of the things he says is, I just recently did a I don't want to run. That's what it's called. I don't want to run. And he says, let's get all the negativity off. Let's kick it to the curb. And you go through this exercise as you're running about thinking about all the reasons why you don't want to run. And you kind of get it out, and then you push it aside, and then you move through it. And sometimes when we're told to just be quiet and not to talk about it anymore, you're not getting a chance to work through it. You don't want to go avoid it, go around it, go over it. You need to go through it. It's important to experience your feelings so that you can come out on the other side. And I just feel really strongly about that. And so sometimes you got to commiserate, and you need people to do that. And teachers are probably the best people to understand other teachers, even over spouses who I don't know. Some of you might have spouses that are really, really understanding. I think I said that I got divorced, so it was a little bit different for me, but that's not why. Anyway, another response from that same group was, she's like, I agree with Annette. Even when the hints or advice were not particularly pertinent to her, just seeing teachers help each other is so encouraging. I love that. I think that's so true. That's the beauty of being in a group, when you watch other teachers rally behind somebody that's had a difficult day or can't find a lesson on main idea, or had a parent call and yell at them. The rallying that occurs from the rest of the teachers is like, you've got a built-in group right there. It's so amazing. I have another response to read. Her name is Stacy. She says, I'm a first-year teacher and learning so much from this group. I appreciate a place where we can exchange information on any topic and hear from teachers across the country and internationally as well. I feel like I won the jackpot to great resources and teachers with differing ideas, opinions, methods, and backgrounds, and that helps me be a better teacher. Like, what a beautiful response. And this is a first-year teacher. She actually feels like she's surviving because she's in this powerful group. And then another person says that they value the community learning resources of the group, and they value and that it's so nice to be able to hear from others that know how they feel. Somebody else in another group I'm in says, I love this group. Always helpful, positive, uplifting, sharing, etc. It is one of the ones that is not filled with complainers and whiners, and it's the only reason I stay in the group is because it's got some actual really great information. I just thought that was really exciting. One more response, and this is from a person named Beth. She says, one pro for me is the convenience. I check Facebook at least once a day so that I can't help but get a little bit of PD in as I scroll. Like, how amazing is that? A little bit of PD in as you scroll. Like, you want learning opportunities. I think I said that in a recent episode where we used to have, like, we were sent to so many trainings and so many learning opportunities when I first started teaching. And it just kind of like went less and less and less as time went on, with money and a different philosophy and different leaders in the main office and so on. It just changed a lot. Well, you know, we've got PD at our fingertips. We've got resources in one another, and groups is a great place for us to find that. I just thought it might be important to conclude with that, and how important it can be to find your people, because you don't want to be sitting in your office crying alone. I'm telling you, it is not fun. And we need others. We need others to build us up, to support us, to believe in us, and to value one another. We've got to value one another when other people are not valuing us. It's so crucial. If you have found it, don't forget to tell them. Tell people how grateful you are for them, how happy they make you, or all the amazing things they do. I actually have created a freebie just for you that is a thank you card to other teachers with a couple of different sayings on it. So you just print them out and you just hand them over. It makes it so much easier so that you can share how thankful you are for your team. I hope you like it. You can find it in the show notes. Well, that concludes our 3-part series on teamwork and the power of teamwork. I hope that you enjoyed it. Coming up next, we've got some more special things coming. You'll have to stay tuned to see what those are. I am excited to tell you that I have some really big guests coming up in the near future talking about engagement and high engagement learning. I think you're going to love it. I also have a very special guest that's going to be talking about new teachers and teaching and the journey of a teacher becoming a teacher. You're not going to want to miss it. So I hope that you stay tuned and you subscribe and you follow along so that you don't miss an episode. All right, this one tired teacher is ready for a nap. I hope that you keep doing what you're doing and sleep tight.